Okay, so this is our last type of solving equations. We are solving literal equations. Okay, so you might be thinking, what is a literal equation? And it is an equation in which known quantities are expressed in letters or variables. And what that really means is that there is more than one variable. And then we're trying to solve for one of those variables to get it by itself. Okay, so what we have to keep in mind is that the procedure is not going to be any different. We're still going to use our same procedures for solving equations. The only difference is that you have to pay attention to which variable they're asking you to solve for, because that's going to change how you approach the equation. Okay, so for example, in this problem they want us to solve for x, and we have ax plus b equals c. So if it helps, you can sort of box in the one that you're trying to solve for, or the one that you're trying to get by itself. So just like when we're solving equations, we have to sort of unwrap the present before we can open the box. So I still have to move the b over first. So I'm going to subtract b from both sides. Okay, and this is where it gets different. So I can't actually subtract b from c. So instead, I'm just going to write c minus b. Alright, and then to get x by itself, I have to divide by a because a is being multiplied by x. And since I did it on the left, I have to do it on the right. So that's going to cancel, and then I'm left with x equals c minus b over a. And then that would be the final answer for that equation. So x is now by itself, it's isolated, so we're done with that literal equation. Okay, so in this case, they want us to solve for h. So notice the things that are keeping h from being by itself are the b and the 1/2. Well, we know a really easy way to get the fraction on the other side, and that is to use the reciprocal. So if I multiply by 2 over 1, I can get rid of it on that side, but then whatever I do to the right, I have to do to the left. So now I have 2a equals b times h. And now to get h by itself, since b is being multiplied, I'm going to divide by b on both sides. So now I have an equation that says 2a over b equals h, which is the same thing as h equals 2a over b. And since I got h by itself, I'm done. Okay, so this example is very common but sort of special. So it's not telling you what variable to solve for directly, but it says write in function form. And so what that means is that they want you to get y by itself. If you ever see write in function form, that means that you were trying to solve for y. Alright, so just like before, I have to, even though it's backwards, I have to get rid of this 16 first before I can mess with the negative 8. So let me rewrite this. So now I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. Now be very careful because 4x and 16 are not like terms. So I can't combine them, so I just have to write this as 4x minus 16. And now, to get y by itself, I'm going to divide by negative 8. And so I'm going to divide every term on the right by negative 8. And I like to write it separately just so I don't forget anything. So now I have y equals 4 over negative 8 becomes negative 1/2 x. And then negative 16 divided by negative 8 becomes plus 2. Alright, another way you could write that would be y equals x over 2, or negative x over 2, I'm sorry, negative x over 2 plus 2. So either one of those would be correct. And since I ended up with the y by itself, it's now in function form, and I've done what the problem is asking. Alright, so again, solve for h. So this one's a little tricky because it has parentheses, and I know that you are tempted to distribute, but in this case, because h is already by itself out here, I would actually make more work for myself by distributing. So instead, I'm going to get rid of this fraction using a reciprocal. So again, multiply by 2 over 1. And so I end up with 2a equals b1 plus b2 times h. Now I know those look a little different. That's called a subscript, a b1 and b2. So don't treat them as numbers. It's just a variable. b1 is no different from x or n or a. Alright, so now to get h by itself, it's being multiplied by this whole set of parentheses. Okay, so to get h by itself, I'm actually going to divide by b1 plus b2 all together. Alright, but now, if you look, I have h by itself. So I have 2a over b1 plus b2 equals h, which is the same thing as h equals 2a over b1 plus b2. So now that h is totally by itself, that is my final answer. And that's it for this section.